So I'm here with this GIANDEL or GIANDEL or Gandalf, you know, whatever. It's a pure sine wave inverter. It's got a solar controller built in. You can kind of see the specs here if we'd focus. 12 volt input, 110, 120 volt, 60 hertz output. It does have USB-C ports. It can do 20 amps in at 15 volts or 300 watts for the solar. And yeah, I have all of these batteries, these 100 amp hour batteries that I get, and it'd be nice to be able to use them in a power outage. So I thought I would pick up an inverter. This one's 2200 watts. I also got a smaller version of theirs. I'll be doing a video on it as well. But yeah, let me get this thing hooked up and we'll check it out. First, I'll show you the front a little here. It does have like a display. It has this phone jack looking plug. I don't think it's quite the phone jack size, so I'm not a networking guy. But this goes to a remote. I'll show you that. And then, yeah, you've got everything here. And I've hooked it up around back. Everything's only finger tight right now, so we'll see how well that works. I may have to go get a wrench. But yeah, let me get this hooked up to the battery. All right, so we're back here. I've got the little remote plugged in. It's got quite a nice long cable. Let's turn it on. There we go. So we have our voltage. And then it's showing us our output. We're not outputting anything because there's nothing plugged in. So you do have the two plugs. You get some other stuff here. I'm not too worried about that stuff. You can look at that on the manual yourself. We do have a switch here that I just noticed for lead acid and gel. So let's go ahead and switch that over because this isn't lead acid. Looks like you also have a USB-C hiding here. So yeah, it's supposed to be 2200 watts. Let's start with an electric tea kettle. All right, so we're back with the kettle. And let's go ahead and plug her in here. Come on. And give it a load. So we see it's pulling 1.04 kilowatts. It's doing 10.8 volts for that. Well, it claims that's an input. I'm assuming that's the input into the unit from the battery. Let's see how long this takes to get this water up to temperature. So let me tell you more about this real quick. I paid $279 for this and 99 cents or 96 cents, something like that, on Amazon. I had seen some other YouTubers do some of this brand, including the smaller ones that I'm going to test in another video. And like I said, I just have a lot of these lithium iron phosphate batteries I get. They're offered to me for the channel to test with my battery analyzer. So, you know, I have a bunch of them. I've given a bunch away to my brother-in-law for his RV and stuff, but they keep coming, and it'd be nice to use these in a power outage. I do have two EcoFlow units that we use to power the sump and power the chest freezer here and the refrigerator behind me in the kitchen. But it'd be nice to have a way to use these batteries for something other than 12 volt. I could do a lot of 12 volt stuff when the power's out. We lose power a dozen times a year. Most recently it was out for I think like 4 or 5 hours, and I work from home, so not convenient. But with these now I could like run the router. There's two things that I need to plug in, the router and then something downstairs. Now I can run these off these batteries, you know, for like days probably, which is nice because then I can work. And then I can get another one, you know, and I can run my laptop, or I can use one of the EcoFlows or whatever if the sump doesn't need to run a bunch. And it's just going to be nice. So we're at about 2.5 minutes. The water's coming up to temperature just like it should. The unit's handling it fine, still pulling about 1 kilowatt. So let me tell you a little more about the battery. It has two AC outlets, 2200 watts rated, 4400 watts peak, one 5 volt, 2.4 amp max USB output. So I'm actually not quite sure what that is. Maybe it's just a vent hole. I do smell something getting quite toasty. So the battery cables that it came with are 2 feet. It has 8 30 amp internal fuses, although I would never ever recommend that you go in here and try to service thing yourself because, yeah, electricity will kill you. And I'm sure there's some capacitors and stuff in there that'll hold a charge. The manual did say, you know, leave 8 inches on a side for cooling, so don't put it like in a wood box or something. Really, it wanted like 7.8 something, whatever it was in metric, basically 8 inches. You can mount it. It's got the mounting holes. This is a 15-foot remote cable. Pretty cool. You can mount this somewhere and then like bring this inside or whatever. But yeah, if I like this thing, I'm gonna get another one at some point so I can be running multiple batteries at once. so I can be in multiple rooms at once. It seems to be working great. I am gonna go get, there's no heat here at all. There's more heat coming off of this than there is off of this. Like this is ambient temperature, but I can feel heat escaping here. I will say the power cord is uncomfortably hot. Both of them are. So, you know, it is drawing a kilowatt though, but maybe that's what I'm smelling. Let me go get the thermometer and my infrared here and we'll check out the cables. I went and got my infrared so we can take a look here. Oh, we're at temperature. Let me get the cables real fast. Yeah, I'm getting like 182 degrees, 205 degrees. Sorry, this is hard to look at both at the same time. So those cables are 200 degrees. So they're cooling down pretty quick, but 200 degrees. And there's the coffee pot. What am I looking at? Oh, because I have the thing upside down. That makes more sense. So they're still like 180 degrees. And you can see the unit itself is basically ambient temperature. I'm sorry for the angles here, guys. And then, of course, the tea kettle is at 220 degrees. Yeah, I don't know about that. Let's plug in something. Let's let these cool down. We'll come back. We'll plug in something that draws a lot less, and we'll see if those are getting as hot. So I've unplugged it, and I've been letting it cool for a few minutes. And I went ahead and pulled up the battery here. So I have these statistics on the battery from the Bluetooth. We're looking at the 75 degrees to 82 degrees Fahrenheit inside here. That test we did drop the battery 11%, which is about what I would have expected. So the terminal's at 128 Fahrenheit. The cable is doing about 100 to 120 all the way to the unit. Same for the other cable, but to just show you what I'm looking at there, you can kind of see, you know, pretty toasty. I don't know how well you can see that there, but the temperature has definitely come down a bunch. Realistically, what I'm going to be using this for would be like 400 or 500 watts, maybe like under 100 watts. This is going to be running probably the internet stuff and like maybe my monitor or, you know. So let me get something saner and we'll see what it does. Yeah, it's just going to hang out at 100. Shouldn't be drawing anything. The battery app itself says it's not, so let me just double check that. What we're going to do here is this DeWalt needs topped up so I can use it in the string trimmer. The battery temperature has gone up a little, so even turned off, I think it's drawing something. That could just be the cables being connected. I'm not an electrician. Turn it back on. Let me see what the battery's doing now. It's not even drawing an amp or a watt. So that screen's using probably milliamps, which is nice. It's designed good. So yeah, let's go and get this battery on here. I think this isn't full. Let's see what we got here. I was thinking about it. There we go. So we're drawing what, 60 watts? I'm just taking a look at the battery here. We are getting some decent conversion loss there. That says we're drawing 60 watts, or we're outputting 60 watts. The battery shows 101.6 to 102.9 watts coming out of the battery. I mean, we're converting it to DC, from DC to AC, so that's expectable. It's coming out at 7.7 to 7.8 amps. Yep, it's just hanging out there at 101.6 to 102.9 for the 60 watts. So, I don't know, math wizards do that. So let's get the temperature now. If you remember, we were at about 100 degrees. So we're only up 2 degrees. Surprisingly, this part's actually cooler over here now. Again, this is reading a little bit above ambient. It's 74 in here, and this is now at 75 and a half. I'm not concerned anymore. This is my first inverter, so I'm new to this, so that's comforting. If I should be concerned about that, let me know. I just assume it's because we're pulling a whole kilowatt out, which is actually faster than this battery is probably even happy with itself. So that could have been some of it. That could have been literally just this dumping the heat in. I'm pretty happy with this thing. Obviously, I'm going to test it some more, but if this video is still up, I still like it. If it's egregious, severely egregious, I'll tell you. But I don't see any problems with this thing. We're still drawing at about 112 watts down. It's saying, what, 60-ish output. Not the greatest efficiency, but it is what it is. That's the nature of the beast when it comes to taking DC to AC or AC to DC. Yeah, I mean, you lose some. I'm sure you could get more efficient, but then it would probably make this an order of magnitude more expensive. And who wants to pay $3,000 for something like this when you could pay $300 something dollars? And it does seem to be leveling out a little here. It was getting 112.9. Now it's peaking at 112 watts draw on the battery. So I don't know. Could someone explain that to me? Maybe as things warm up in here, they get a little bit better. I really don't know. Or maybe this peaks at first and it kind of levels out. Anyway, yeah, would I recommend this? Absolutely. This was the Gandalf, Gefelgefish, I don't know, however you pronounce that. There'll be a link to it in the description, a link to it in the sticky comment. Let me know if you've had experience with this. Was that temperature consistent? Should I never ever let it run hard, that hot? I don't know what the word is. Yeah, so this is up to 120 degrees now. Still nowhere near that 200 that it was. This is actually at 90. Okay, the heat fins are now at about 81, 82 Fahrenheit. Overall, I'm happy. I think I might pick up another one of these. I'm going to test this for a couple of days just to make sure, but probably buying another one. Thanks for stopping by, guys.